So this is a silver metal flake panel that we're going to do some pinstriping on. All the way through. There's like that little voice in the back of your head that's like, slow down. All right, today we got a little bit of problem solving to do. My buddy Austin wanted to do a little collaboration with me on this panel. I think you guys can see this. So this is a silver metal flake panel that we're going to do some pinstriping on. I designed my layout for this panel, and I dig it. I'm happy with it. We got some good shapes. We got some good curves in there. Overall, I think it's going to work out really well. But we tried to transfer this with some Sorel paper. We tried it with white. It didn't show up on the panel. We tried it with blue. It didn't show up on the panel. So now we're stuck with trying to figure out a solution to transfer the image. I believe in accuracy, and I also believe that the final product is all that matters. Developing the technique and being able to work without a stencil or without a template, that'll all come with time. But for right now, I'm concerned about the quality of the product that we're putting out. So I have no problem doing a transfer or a rub off or a pounce pattern or whatever I need to do to make things look right. I went ahead and made a cleaner version of what I just did here. We're going to attempt something a little bit different. I haven't done it before, but it's been done before. I didn't invent this thing. So what we're going to do here, get you guys in frame. We are going to try to do a transfer using charcoal. But ideally, we coat the whole back of this paper with charcoal, then we put it back into place, and then we trace over everything again with a ballpoint pen, and that should give us a nice clean transfer that's readable. Again, the problem was that the white and the blue would both get lost on this panel and we couldn't see what we were doing. So we're going to try this charcoal thing. So let's see what happens. Go. All right, let's see what happens. There's probably not a great way to do this, so hopefully we don't make a big old mess. Now what I have noticed with this paper, being that it's probably recycled, it does like to rip and tear with tape, so you got to be gentle. Get rid of a little bit of excess here. Let's find our center. So we're right about 9 inches. So it's going to be 4.5. We don't really have a top and bottom on this. One inch to the design and 1 inch to the design. So I don't get lost in the design, I'm just going to follow one line all the way through. Normally when I'm doing like pinstripe stuff, I'll go left side and then right side. But we just want to make sure this transfers, so we're not going to try to get too fancy today. You know, one thing I've noticed with this is I have a tendency to want to stabilize, kind of like I'm tattooing, where I want to plant my hand and pivot, but a lot of times you can't do that. So you really got to learn how to just sort of stabilize on the fly as you're moving, maybe plant a finger or whatever. But if you're painting wet on wet and you got a bunch of wet paint, you really can't do that. So you just got to figure it out as you go. The other thing too, as you see me moving this panel around, because I have the freedom to do that because I'm in the studio, but a lot of times if you're painting on site and you're on a fixed object like an automobile or a wall or whatever, you don't have the liberty of moving things around to your liking, so you got to get used to that as well. So it's always a learning experience and every job is different, so you'll figure it out as you go. But let's go ahead and check this thing out and see what our transfer looks like. So So you guys can see, squeeze the light out. Let's see, move around so the light changes. So there you go. There's our image, full panel, ready to paint. And I think that I can definitely work with that. So we can see it in the light, but that's why we've got so many different lighting options here in the studio. You know, just turning one light on, turning another light off, changes everything. So that's a diffused light, so that works even better. You know, these are all exposed LEDs. That's LED, but that's diffused. So there you go. Did you ever have one of those moments where you're doing something and you know better? There's like that little voice in the back of your head that's like, slow down. The design has 3 spears in the middle. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do for the treatment of those spears, so I left them open. And I jumped the gun and I striped everything, and I know better. I ended up doing a color fade in the 3 spears. But in order to do that, I had to mask them off. And just like I knew it was going to happen, when I pulled the mask up, it lifted some of the black. Now, there could be a couple reasons for that. I'm pretty sure that my panel prep was on point and everything was clean. I cleaned it with mineral spirits, I wiped it down with denatured alcohol, but it still lifted. So it's either the black was a little bit too thin, or the charcoal that I had laid out for my stencil compromised the adhesion of the paint to the panel, or maybe it was just that the stickiness of the mask was a little bit too strong. Either way, I got to go back over it. But the correct way would have been to do my center treatment and then stripe on top of it. And I know better, I do. I just got a little bit overzealous, and I was super stoked to start striping this panel. So, lesson learned. If you're not learning, you're not earning, right? So, I'm going to hit this black again. That should be it for this panel. We might deliver it today, I don't know. Got a lot going on, but just as I've learned because I knew better, I hope you learned something too. So, let's do it.